That's not a thing, but happy Monday. Welcome to everybody joining me, especially if you're watching on Restream. Just want to start this off by letting you know this is a live show. So if you're watching on Restream, I'm glad to have you. But just so you know, this content expires like every single week because we look at domain names that are expiring, but they will be done by the end of this week. So if you're watching on Restream, make sure you subscribe, even hit the bell. I want to make sure you join me live each week because that is the way to consume Domain to Profit. So today we're just going to be looking through those expired domains that we do each week. So we have a great community that joins me in the chat. I see them starting to come in, starting to comment already, and together, and this is another reason why live is so important. Together we come together and we look through these domain names. Sometimes we share the great ones that we want to, mention. Other times I know that some of you out there keep them quiet, but for the most part, we are 100% looking to find domain names that we can develop. So we will look at domain names, find the best ones, and then we will talk about some businesses that could possibly be developed on them. So if it's your first time joining us live, you may very well come in at the beginning of the show, not be 100% what the heck we're looking at, but leave with not only a good business idea, but also a domain name to be the platform for that idea. So it truly is a life-changing, game-changing show. It can be really great stuff. So if you haven't already, make sure you introduce yourself to the chat. Let them know you're here. Let them know where you're from. And we will get going on Domain to Profit. I will see you in just a moment.
Domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Walsh and get started right now.
Okay, I hate cutting the chat off so quickly, but I don't have it set up in my stuff yet. But and if the audio is a little funky, I forgot I'm traveling, as you may be able to tell. I am in Las Vegas right now, and as you probably know, about a third of the shows or so are done remote. And this time I forgot a wire that goes to my microphone, so I'm only using the laptop sound. So apologies if it sounds like I'm in a hall or in an empty room or something like that. So I'm just going to check out the chat, see who all's here and so on. Fred is mentioning that it is Washington's birthday, so in the U.S., a lot of times it's a day off. You know how it is. I don't take days off, especially from this show. I think we've done it on every possible holiday. I've done a pre-recorded one a couple times, but yes, Ben Franklin's indeed $100 bill. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Well, Lee, nice to have you here as well. Fred, by the way, was mentioning Washington's birthday. Coaster G is saying no school, but it is domain to profit. So we're going to hopefully learn something as it is. And Frank J, hey guys and gals, there's always some gals in here, but hey, how's it going? Nice to have you. Michael, always nice to have you as well. A lot of people are beating you to the chat, but glad to have you as well. Always glad to have you. Matt, I made it on time. He's usually my clock keeper and harasses me if I'm a minute or two late, but howdy indeed. And let me see, L Couch, howdy all from Godaddy area, Arizona. Is Godaddy in Arizona? I thought they were in Austin, but you would know. I don't know anything, but that's awesome. I was in Phoenix. I did a show from Phoenix one time. So, and then, yeah, Michael's in Scottsdale. I one time said Scotland, and yeah, that was silly. And yeah, sorry about the Bengals. He has, Super Bowl. I've already had a show since then. I've already kind of licked the wounds. But hey, I'm such a I just was so happy and thankful that they got to the Super Bowl. It really revitalized Cincinnati in a way that I've not seen since I started. Or since I've been in Cincinnati, like as an adult especially. So I'm just super thankful there. Worked there ages ago at GoDaddy, that is. Yeah. Okay, well, I like a lot of people there for sure, and we use a lot of their stuff. I like the people We use some of their stuff, but in most cases, I've moved a lot of stuff away from GoDaddy. They're still better than network solutions. So here's how this is going to work, as you probably are already aware if you are joining us if this is more than your first time. So what we're going to do is we are going to go out to expireddomains.net, which I'll show you here in just one moment. And this is a free resource that we'll look at that allows us to search through. They put it together. It's so awesome. They only make money when we click the links, like they make affiliate commission. It doesn't cost us anything to use such a fantastic site. So I highly encourage you to use it as well. And what we will do is we look to expired domain names. Let's just get over there. I'll show you what we have up here. As you'll see over here on expireddomains.net, yours will look a little different when you get there. You'll want to set up a free user account, and then you can choose to go with the dark background or not. And I just want to show you this here. 402,000 domain names as of right this second that we're going to be filtering through. So if you're kind of like, how many domain names really are there expiring at a given time? This is only on GoDaddy, in fact. So there are domain names expiring across all kinds of different registrars. We focus on GoDaddy for the only reason we focus on GoDaddy is because they have a lot of domain names and they have a great expired auction. Wait, let me use some better words here. It's not a great expired auction. They have the expired auctions that are most established with the most domains, and that means they're the most important current, expired domains. So that's why we focus on them. There are other platforms out there, other places you can find expired domains, and what you'll find is they're all here. They're all on these buttons on expireddomains.net. So kudos to the creators. I'm always so appreciative. Probably the biggest fan out there. So what we are going to do is set up the filters for expireddomains.net to allow us to, we're not going to look through 402,000 domains. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, you can write a program to do it maybe, but you're certainly not going to use your eyes. You would be here for a really long time, and that's not much fun. So what we do is we set up the filters. So what I'm going to do is show you the exact filters that we use by default here on Domain to Profit. We use these every week to start our search. Sometimes we go off script, but you can always count on these being the default searches, the default filters that we use on Domain to Profit. So we get rid of numbers. We get rid of numbers because really, for the most part, businesses they're not going to have numbers in the domain name. They create confusion. Hyphens are like 1990s or early 2000s at the most. We don't want hyphens in our domain names. There's very seldom a reason we would ever consider that. Then we look at English words, 1 to 3 words, and that is as expired domain sees them based on their database of dictionary words. But we look at 1 to 3 words specifically because that helps us to narrow it down. And in my experience of looking through, many years of domain names, you can find domain names that are 4 words. You can have 4 words in the domain name. I think even 5 words. I might even own a 5-word domain name. But when you're looking through hundreds of thousands of domain names, 1 to 3 is the best. That's where you're going to find probably 99% of the domain names are with English 1 to 3 words. Of course, modify that to your language if you look for other domain names specifically. And then for the sake of this show, we do end in 7 days. So we'll see you again next Monday so we can filter these down. In most cases, the domain names, there's not too many of them over 7 days. So we're not really getting rid of too many there, but for the most part, there are some. Then finally, we click on the second tab over here for additional, and we will get rid of everything. All we want to see is .coms. We want to see .coms. Can you make money? Can you develop on other extensions? Absolutely, but realistically, .com is the king. And whether you have an IO or a .net or a .org, you'll always just wish that you had the .com. So we just go straight to the top and look for .com domains. So those are the filters that we set up. No numbers, no hyphen, English words, 1 to 3 words. We cap it off at 7 days, and then we go for .com only. And then when we apply those filters, we're going to be taking it from a 402,000 down to 83,000. So it's still quite a few domain names that we have to process through. So those are the filters that we have set up for expiredomains.net. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, I'm going to cut that out, and we'll have it as a pre-recorded. So from here going forward, maybe not, we're not going to go over the individual filters. So those are the filters you will need to apply to be able to follow along and see the exact same list as what we do here live on the show. So now that the filters are set up, we want to go over here, make sure that it's ordered by valuation. Now, one more note on the valuation. Valuation is assigned by Godaddy. You hear it each week. The valuation is just like, it doesn't really mean anything other than Godaddy looks at the data and kind of says, hey, this is kind of a valuable domain name. It's just a completely ballpark number. It is not to be used. Domains sell for way more or way less all the time. But what is helpful for us to do as domain developers and those looking to expire domains, it helps us order the list. So instead of looking through 83,000 domains, just hoping we find some good ones, instead we get to look right at the top and start with the ones that GoDaddy kind of already processed a bunch of data and gave us a good order. So that's what we're going to do, is start right from the top. Usay.com. Let me check on chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. I do have to go back and forth when I'm traveling. I typically only have the one screen, so awesome. Other than some network solutions bashing, which I join in on that all the time. Anyhow. So now that we have our filters in place, we're ordered by valuation, we just go down the list. So as we go down the list, if you see a domain name that you think is just fantastic, that we should talk about, that you want to hear a business idea or whatever it is, call it out in the chat if I skip over it. Otherwise, hopefully I'll grab it myself and we'll talk about it and analyze it using some of the tools that we use each week. For the most part, this first screen, not really feeling anything. The recruiter, I don't like the word the. The is not a good word in a domain name. Try to skip it as much as possible. That's a lesson I learned very early on. In fact, one of the first domain names I ever registered, I couldn't get Express Auto, which I needed for a client of mine. So I got the Express Auto. Oh my gosh, what a disaster. That was a big mistake. The word the is just no good. So we'll skip over that. I do like the recruiter, and I'd love to have recruiter.com. You can certainly blog on it. You can certainly put some content on it, but I am going to keep moving on. So as you can see, GoDaddy, their valuation, they have thousands of dollars. I think most of these are $10,000 that they are saying these are worth. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I mean, bestpony.com, these are just general brand type domain names. Now, traffic system, again, that's a brand. What does traffic, when I tell you, hey, trafficsystem.com, what does that make you think of in your head? For me, it makes me think of some like cars and red lights and all that stuff. But for others, it would be web traffic. And so it's a brandable. It's not really describing what you're going to find on that domain name. You will have to define what traffic system is. And those are considered brandables. Anything that doesn't just spell it out for us, anything that doesn't say exactly what we can have on that domain name, we usually pitch over to the side as a brandable domain name. It can still be valuable. It's just not a domain name that is great for domain development, for the idea of taking a domain name, doing some simple development, and creating a business income or a stream of income, which is what we concentrate on here, is finding domain names that, whether you like that industry or not, you can build something on and create some income, right? Isn't that what we're after? We're after like a way to make money from domain names other than like buying them and selling them. We want to be able to do something simple that can generate revenue. Not all domains can do that. Some domain names are, well, some of them are beach bed. It sounds like a product, maybe. I don't know. Who would want to sleep in the actually napping in a hammock next to the ocean's always nice. Order local. I mean, that's that's a little closer to the idea of what we're talking about. What do you expect to find on order local? I expect to be able to order local stuff. What's the stuff though? What is the stuff? That's the part that we'll skip over. But it's close. It gives us a little bit of a better idea of what we're looking for. Tactical flashlight. That's a product. I'm sure that has some search behind it. And by search, what I'm referring to is if we were to take this and type it into spyfu.com, which is the tool we use to look at domain names, to analyze the keywords that are part of the domain name. I'm sure, let's try it out. I usually don't analyze products too terribly much, but for this sake, we will. So here's what how SpyFu gets used. You can paste a domain name in there, get rid of the .com, and then take all the words, space them out. So now instead of tacticalflashlight.com, it's Tactical Flashlight. And this free website, they do have a paid subscription. They pull up a bunch of keyword data and give us a lot of valuable competitive information that allows us to know whether this domain name, whether this topic is worth even exploring. And as you can see here, this is kind of what I expected. You'll see there's 4,200 monthly volume available. They estimate that you can get 2,300 clicks. That's a newer score, just so you know, that they've been putting up there. And as you can see there, it says estimated clicks. This is the total number of clicks, organic and paid, made on the SERP over the past month. Search engine results page, by the way. So basically there's a few thousand available items here. Then what I like to do is I want to scroll down to this section down here, which also shows us some more information from Google. So Google actually sends out this data. They let us know like what they've done for this keyword. Specifically, they say search volume 74,000. That number, there's a reason that's in small print. It's buried because SpyFu knows that that's just not an accurate number, which is why we always use those upper numbers. Why I come down here, though, why I look at this Google provided data is primarily this here. I want to look at the cost per click, and then I want to look at the advertisers. So as you probably know, or if you don't, I'm going to tell you anyways, the number of advertisers, we want to see double digits, ideally. What we know when we see 12, for example, that's great, 12 advertisers. Those are 12 small businesses that are paying to target this keyword because, well, they want to target this keyword. So 12 is a lot. That, you know, when you see Google ads, there are 3, 5, maybe 6 companies that kind of get rotated in and out. So that means half of those 12 really are kind of like they're not able to compete. There's just blood in the water. They're just all beating up on each other trying to get business from this keyword. So that's what we're looking for. That competitive nature is what draws them in and gives us an opportunity to possibly take tacticalflashlight.com, call up those advertisers and be like, hey, we own tacticalflashlight.com. We'd like to feature your website or your product on the website. And that gives us that ability to make some money off of the domain name alone. We don't have to know anything about tactical website or tactical flashlights. We are simply taking those who do know stuff about it, those who have the products, those who are already selling them, and then giving them a way to kind of use that domain name. That's all we're doing. Let the people that know something about it use the domain name to gain an advantage. That's the secret formula. It's not so secret. I'm here every week telling you about it. So the one thing I don't like, though, is the cost per click is pretty low, and that's because this is a product, which is why I avoid products for the most part. We'll talk about these over here a little bit more, these similar keywords, how to use those, as well as the questions. We talk about those each week. We'll keep on moving on. Tactical flashlights, you can monetize it by selling a product if you really want to sell a tactical flashlight, or you could go with the directory type style, which is instead of selling individual products, you find the people that are already selling them and charge them a small monthly fee to feature their storefront or whatever on your website. That's what we like. We like to go with that. So that one ends in 4 days. $135 is what that is. It's a fun domain name. As you can see, the keywords are there. So check it out if you're into products, if you're into flashlight. There you go. Tacticalflashlight.com. And yeah, Matt was pointing out the order local. I like that as well. Like it's not a bad domain name. It just falls kind of into. Sometimes I'll wear a little bit of an investor umbrella, and that's just. I like the domain name. I don't necessarily like it for a straightforward development site. Now, I will say I love local domain names or domain names that allow us to localize them. It allows us to have a bigger audience, right? Because now you can have a page for Cincinnati, a page for Las Vegas, a page for Houston, Texas, Scottsdale, Arizona, San Diego, California, wherever it is, every different city. And as we talk about with the local Legion 300 strategy, there's over 300 cities in the United States with more than 100,000 people in them. That means that if you just get one customer in each of those major 300 cities, you have your first 300 customers when you localize the website, which order local, I don't know what it would be, but you can apply that strategy on it. So we're moving on here. So prime signs, very much a ultimate experience. These are some good brandables. Like, what is an ultimate experience? It's going to vary based on person, but certainly could be created out. Prime signs, more of a, it's definitely a brandable, but I'm sure there's companies out there called prime signs. So that's, and by brandable or an investable domains, brandable would be if you want to define what that is and create something on it, where investable is you would buy it as low as possible to sell it to somebody else higher. Certainly an option for you. We talk specifically, we look for developed domains, or we want to develop domain names, especially for reoccurring revenue, right? That's the key. Reoccurring revenue, share them out. Some of these don't even look like English. Commercial drivers. I don't like how long that domain name is, but here's what we'll do. Let's go ahead and check it out. So commercial drivers in the U.S., that would be somebody with probably a CDL or some type of license that would allow them to operate larger vehicles and so on. The reason why I'm diving into this, I'm just kind of curious if there's any keyword data behind it. And not really. Commercial driver's license, that's kind of what I was looking at. Commercial driver's license. So in this case, let's actually talk about this a little bit. This is actually a good example of, so down here you can see advertisers, if that shows up there. The advertisers is very low, but the cost per click is very high. And I can tell you that recruiting truckers is something that people are paying a lot of money to do. What I want to concentrate, this is a great example of how we can use the similar keywords as well as the question keywords. Say you buy commercialdrivers.com, which let's go over here. Currently $42, ends in 6 days, is what Commercial Drivers goes. Similar keywords shows you, yes, this domain name only has 220 monthly volume on it. But if you look over here, Commercial Drivers License is 10,000. So the number is much higher. And if you kind of pay it, look at this. Our domain name, Commercial Drivers, is part of that keyword. So all you need to do is buy commercialdrivers.com and have a large portion of your content be about commercial drivers licenses, how to get them and so on and so forth. And then that would allow you to target such, these keywords here, that would be 14,000 worth. Actually, even this one here, another 3,700. So there's some big keywords with this, just not exactly commercial drivers. So that's how we use similar keywords. It's kind of, that dictates can we get a larger audience? Do we have access to a larger audience using this domain name? Which, yes, commercialdrivers.com would give us access and a way to attract or go after commercial driver's license. Not sure. I know there's commercial driver's license schools and things. So those schools probably would pay to show up on the website and so on. So you can target pretty much 3 or 4. That's good 20,000 page views that you could possibly generate with this domain name. So even though this over here says 200, we can add on these other ones because our domain name's part of the primary content. Make sense? I think so. If not, please ask questions. I'd love to make sure I get these. That point especially is one that needs to be as clear as possible. So, and I know I tend to be as clear as mud at times. So this next section over here with questions, I don't believe that I don't know anything about towing. I don't really know anything about photo booths or DJs or bartenders or many of my domain names. I don't need to know anything about them. The customers that are paying me to be on those sites are the ones that know something about it. So when you look at this domain name, you think, okay, well, if I'm going to put money into this month, if I'm going to buy this domain name for maybe $1,000, $2,000, I don't know anything about it. How do I know what content to put on the domain name? Well, these questions over here answer that question. The questions answer that question of what content to put on your domain name. So what you can see over here is these are the questions that people are asking that deal with this topic of commercial drivers. And you'll see that it's the same thing. Commercial driver's license. Commercial driver's license. What is a commercial driver's license? Why it's the same exact thing over and over, I'm not entirely sure. Just apostrophe, I guess. But essentially by answering that question in various ways, you're going to have access to these people here, these thousands of people that are asking that question, that are trying to get an answer to what the heck is a commercial driver's license? How do I get a commercial driver's license? All those questions you can answer, and you don't even have to answer them. You can, put them out there to your community to have them answer it. And next thing you know, you can generate business or traffic off of that. So that is commercialdrivers.com. Let me summarize that one real quick. Ends in 6 days, $42 currently. Since there's already a couple bids, it's probably going to go up before the end, but I do always highly recommend you wait until the end of the auction and put your max bid in. I do anticipate commercial drivers. I anticipate that one will go for probably close to $2,000. Just an estimate. I'm pretty off. I'm right pretty frequently. This coffee is so freaking strong. It's as clear as mud or the coffee in my cup. Hey, let me pop over to chat, see if there's... Okay, what are we seeing? Anybody? So the question is out of these domain names that we're looking at, make sense? Do you have ideas for them? Are you, if you're not even looking to buy the domain name yourself, potentially, it's a great exercise just to use that creativity to say, what would I put on this? What do I believe belongs on this? How would I make money from this? Who would the audience be? What are the problems they have that this domain can solve? All of those different things. You'll also be able to find those questions in a worksheet that we have over here. Beep. On the 3-minute business plan, there is a worksheet that will help you go through the different aspects of what it looks like to identify your audience for that domain name, identify the problem, the solution that you could put on that domain name, and then look at some of the different strategies and so on. That will walk you through that over on dtp.tv, domain-to-profit.com, and that's 3-minute business plan. 3-minute business plan. All righty, kids. Okay, domain developers, back to the main event. Isn't it crazy that all these domains are just they expired? What? Like what? 400 some thousand dreams lost. Somebody got every single one of these. They got because they were like, "Oh, I got this great idea. I'm so going to build this out." And then, 10 years later, whatever it is, they're like, "Yeah, I never did anything with that. I'm going to let it go." Or they forget about it or whatever else. Next thing you know, it shows up on Domain to Profit. And we come in like the scavengers. We go dumpster diving through the expired domains. Okay, here we go. Giftreviews.com. I mean, we run a website, a rating review website. I will tell you there is, I avoid them. So, but gift reviews, I'm going to skip it over. Every single drink of coffee has to be followed by a water chaser. So this week here in Vegas, while I'm here, is Photo Booth Expo, which I'm not exhibiting at this year, but we have in the past pre-COVID. And so that's in Las Vegas. I'll be heading down there and checking that out. But since we own photobooths.com, I want to check in with it. So, okay. But that's one of the reasons. I don't always have a reason for why I travel places, especially Vegas. A lot of times I just come here because I love the food. So many great restaurants here. But this time I'll be down there. So I'm looking at small business opportunity. Look how long that freaking domain name is. I hate long domain names. Ain't nobody want to freaking type that out. I don't even want to type it out. That's why I'm copying and pasting. Oh, man. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I kind of didn't think there'd be much for it. Like, nobody ever kind of says small business opportunity. Sounds like a good domain name. What do you expect to find on small business opportunity? Small business opportunities, right? Like, it makes sense. I'm sure there's magazines out there that, at least there used to be back in the day, where you can get magazines that just went over franchise and business options and different things. I could see that being the kind of thing on small business opportunity. But look how many characters that is. That is so long. Could you imagine if we added another word? That's why we limit it to 3. But I do like this. So the advertisers is 12, A+, right? We want to see it 10 or more. Then cost per click, I like seeing it over 2, which it is. So even though the volume for this one, for smallbusinessopportunity.com is low, we have a couple positives. So with that, we're going to look a little bit more at this. Okay, this is exact Small Business Opportunities magazine. It's kind of exactly, I've seen those kinds of things out there before. Not really. I'm looking at the questions. Small business. Yeah, not really. There's probably all kinds of content you could put on there. Let's click on it, see what it's going for, see where it is. Domains like this tend to go for way more than what they should. Look, it even wraps it down to another line. That is how freaking long this domain name is. And that matters. It matters when you get into these long domain names. Just big words. I could probably spell all of them, which, as you may know, I'm a horrible speller. So I tend to take spelling into consideration. I believe I could spell all of them. So if I represent a poor speller, then it means probably most of the world or most of the U.S. could at least do it. $12 is current bid. Again, this is a perfect opportunity to say, stop, do not bid. If you are watching this live, do not bid. If it says $12, you do not want to bid. You want to hold off. Right now it's saying that there's 4 days, 3 days, 20 hours, 4 days left on this auction. You want to wait until 5 minutes and 15 seconds left in this auction. So go over here, click the watch list, and keep an eye on it. Know to come back to it in 3 days and 19 hours and 55 minutes or whatever. The reason you want to do that is any bids within 5 minutes extends the auction. So you want to bid as close to 5 minutes as possible with your maximum bid. So if you looked at this and you're like, that's a great domain name, Drew. I want to get smallbusinessopportunity.com. I'd be willing to pay $2,000 for it, or $1,000 for it, or $200 for it, whatever your bid is, especially if you're wanting to keep this auction as low as possible, which you are. You want to make sure to wait until it's close to 5 minutes left. I just saw this one last week. Somebody, I had mentioned a domain name that should same thing, and somebody bid. Like, there was no bids on the domain name until the day of the auction, but somebody bid on it that morning at like 6 a.m. And within a matter of like an hour, there were like 7 more people bidding on that domain name. Like, no, it wasn't on people's radar until somebody bid on it. So the reason why we wait until the last second is we don't want to put it on people's radar until the last second. Not everyone's going through this whole list automatically like this and looking at all these keywords, or if they are, they might miss the important ones. And when you bid on them early, you are increasing the eyeballs that the domain name gets, because people like me will come in and sort by, I'll just show you over here. If you come into expiredomains.net, you can sort by this over here, which is number of bids. You can sort by number of bids. You can sort by the max bid. And you have to believe, I promise you, people do that all the time. And if you bid, it is increasing where it is on that list. So you're making it easier for people to find the domain name you like. So highly recommend that you do not bid until the last possible moment, which would be 5 minutes and 10 seconds or so. I have had good success with that. I've had others have really good success with it. So that's an important, it's one of the biggest tips I think I could offer you up. And in fact, this guy here who's harassing me about the naked elves. Ah, man, we missed naked elves. Okay, Matt. But Matt purchased game releases.com, which I would have probably paid $1,200 for. And I told him, like, hey, be ready to pay $1,200 for this domain name. And he got it for like a couple $100 or something. I was shocked. But it was because he implemented that strategy and did not put his max bid in until just before 5 minutes. I was super jealous of him getting that for so cheap. But it's good for him. Good for him. He'll develop it. I won't. Okay. Game releases, I won't develop. He will develop it because he loves games. It's outside of my business model, so it would have just sat in my portfolio. Dream Crusher. That's what corporate America. We should just dreamcrusher.com should be just all the largest corporations in the U.S. They just crush dreams. In fact, I'm going to highlight that one. I might. Okay, this is just for Drew's, for the fun of it. Ends in 6 days, dreamcrusher.com. Okay. That could be just a funny domain name. You can always blog on, anytime you like a domain name, I immediately go to the idea of content. So if you blogged on it, or I hate big business, just completely hate them. All the big companies, I try to do whatever I can to not use them all that much because of this. They're dream crushers, the people that, anyhow. Point being, I could see me getting that domain name and blogging about how much, just examples of corporate America, just killing people's dreams and rant over. Loyalty logistics. It falls in that brandable. Okay, so we're done one page. That's 200 domains down, 40 minutes in the show. Feels like we go really slow anymore, but I feel like we used to get through a good 600 domain names, but hopefully that's because we're finding some good ones. So if I can work my computer here. You see some good ones. You got any that you're kind of keeping secretly in your mind? For the most part, I might be bidding on commercial drivers. I have not decided on that. Tacticalflashlight.com, especially a good one for somebody out there that if you can get that for cheap. What was it going for? I think it was 135. It's tough. Products I try to avoid. They tend to be low margins and harder to make money from. But hey, like I said, it could be for you. Small business opportunity, more of a content play. So that's what we got so far. We'll keep moving on. 20 minutes left. We'll see if we can find some good ones. I love good domains. So here in one of my favorite places to eat, I got two places that I really like to eat when I'm here in Las Vegas. Nobu, which is like sushi. I love that place. Like they have some just amazing. Like I didn't even like sushi all that much until I started to go to Nobu, and it's kind of like, hey, bring me out some interesting stuff or stuff you're known for. And my goodness, I fell in love with Nobu. Then the other one is Morimoto, which is a Japanese restaurant, which with sushi as well. Those two places will both be on my list for while I'm here, at least once. And then Nacho Daddy. I love nachos, people. I love nachos. I don't know what to say. Like I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I like nachos. Order payment. I'm sitting here holding on that because I'm just not. Order payment. So that's like a near miss. That's like one of those domains. Like what is order payment? You make a payment on an order. Doesn't really add up. So when I pause like that, what I was doing is order payment. What comes up in my brain? What do I see being on that domain name? And if you're not instantly like, if there's not a picture of what should be on that domain name immediately coming to mind, that's a really bad sign. If a picture comes to mind, the next question is like, do you see who would be the audience that will be monetizing the domain name or paying to participate in the domain name? That's always the second question, is kind of like, what would that be? And in most cases, that's where a lot of these domains die, is that monetization piece. Like, what problem can you solve easily and well and get some revenue kind of really quickly by helping the people that would benefit from that domain name? A lot of these domain names die at that step. You might be able to, like Doggy Express. Oh, I can picture like a mobile grooming service or this, but that's a brandable, right? Like Doggy Express literally would be like dogs on wheels running around or something. Like it doesn't make any sense. So even if you picture dogs on wheels, how are you going to make money from that? Maybe you have some funny videos of dogs on wheels, and then I don't know. It's just skip it, move on. We have 400 some thousand other domains that we can look at. And if we don't find anything this week, you can come back next week. You can keep looking, just keep waiting. Be patient. Patient is good. Patience is good. It is better to save up and wait for that perfect, amazing domain name than to end up like me with, 1,000 some domain names. A lot of them are really good, but realistically, maybe 100, 150 of them are the top-notch domains that are like perfect development. The other ones are domains that are those close domains, those domains that would be content. They would be like a lot of work. And are you like me? Like I want to work hard, but I don't want to work like hard. That makes sense. Like I am a hard worker, but I don't want to work hard on things I don't want to work on. And writing content, for example, would be one of the things that just like it's so painful to write an article or research something just so I can put content up, once a week. And then hopefully in 6 months, I'm starting to generate enough traffic to make some money off affiliate links or something. It hurts my brain how hard some people work where if we can just be patient and look for domains like, I was hoping one would come up. I mean, pool building. What do you see on pool building? I can see. I don't know if there's. Let's look into it. Let's look into pool building. I mean, there's always like in the movies, all the rich people always have like buildings next to their pool, like pool houses and stuff. So, is that a thing? Do people search for that? Let's find out. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit. I guess I get. Okay, here's what we're running into. A lot of these searches are for people looking to build a pool, right? The words are reversed, so there's really not much happening with this one specifically. Most of the keywords and stuff go opposite. I was thinking literally like a pool house or something next to the pool that goes with. And okay, so we're gonna skip over pool building. I'm not really seeing monetization on that. And when I say I'm not seeing monetization, I'm seeing this is low. And this up here, yes, cost per click is high, but there's plenty of space on Google for people to advertise and so on. So not really much room for us. So I'm just going to actually get rid of that one. That was just me hoping. I really wanted to find something good. It would have been Maker Expert. I think I own Makeup Expert. Find Psychics. I mean, if you're into that psychic thing, find is a good word to go with psychics, right? Like if you're, so what would you put on findpsychics.com? Well, first of all, psychics.com would be the better domain name. So you're always going to be a sub domain name to the primary one, which would be psychics.com. Findpsychics.com being a search for psychics. The reason why I'm even concentrating on this is I was walking to breakfast this morning, and off to the side I saw like psychic reading sign, and there's a place that did psychic readings. Otherwise I would have skipped over this. But the fact that I know that there are businesses out there that this is what they do, right? They are psychics, they do readings. And somebody out there must be their customer. Therefore, findpsychics.com could be a search engine of psychics. Currently $12. That means wait till the last 5 minutes to bid. Ends in 5 days. And let's go check out some keywords real quick. Just because we don't understand it, just because we don't even like it or whatever else, this is definitely one I cannot spell. Psychics. Is that right? I think it's right. So find psychics is no-go. There's like, is that spelled right? Dagnabbit. Sorry, folks. I would have thought there would be some keyword action on that. Unless it's not even how you spell psychics. One last check. Okay, so that is the right thing. So there's really nothing happening for findpsychics.com. I just want to show you this real quick, which would be the single keyword psychics. That's where you start to see thousands of opportunities. So when you go for findpsychics.com, you are going for a very subset of this keyword here, psychics. So like, for example, psychic near me, psychics near me, those keywords here are the ones that you would be targeting with find psychics. So find psychics near me, right? See what I'm going for there? So this would be one way that you can probably get a cheaper domain name. Findpsychics.com. You'll probably be able to pull that off for between $180 and $380. I could see it going in that range. Who knows? You might be able to get it for $20, $30. You put up a search engine, implement the local agent 300, or even you probably want to go the route of you need more in an area like Vegas. You can't just do one. So some places, anyhow, local search engine of psychics, and voila, charge them a small monthly fee to be on your website. And then when you're calling them, you're like, hey, did you know I was calling? Did you know I was about to call you? And they'd be like, Come on. Somebody had to have laughed at that, right? That was good. That was good. Anybody? Okay. I missed some chat, so let me pop in over here. Call the check. I'm cracking myself up on the. Okay, Miss Naked Elves, Cannabis Key, order payment almost seems like it goes together. Blood Sugar Daddy. Not sure what that's referring to there, Matt. And what does monthly cost mean? Michael, I'm not sure if I know. I'm not sure if I know what the heck monthly cost you're referring to. If I saw that, apologies if I did not. And I got nothing. What am I missing? Oh, the psychic one? Is this okay? Everybody, okay. I got some good. Okay. I'm looking at the chat and I'm like, I'm lost. That's the downside. I need like chat over at a window so I can see what everybody's saying. But yeah, I'd love it to be able to call the Blood Sugar Daddy for no. It was on the list. Did just say Blood Sugar Daddy for no reason. Okay. Well, there you go. You're losing me. I need context, people. Okay. So that's what we're going with. You call them up, and you're calling these psychics, and I probably wouldn't make that joke. They probably hear it all the time and will not find it funny. But you try to get them to go for your domain name, to list as a member on findpsychics.com. So here's what we're looking at. If you own psychics.com, for example, look at this. This is why those one-word keyword domain names are so expensive and so valuable. 18 keyword people going for it. So this is those bloody waters. This is a pretty good domain name. So if you're here, domain to profit, maybe a first time or second time, or you were a seasoned vet that's been with us for a long time, haven't done anything, this could be a good domain name for you to, kind of cut your teeth on a little bit. Findpsychics.com ends in 5 days. I like it. And in fact, DM me. Somebody let me know if you're going for that domain name, because I don't want that domain name to get in the hands of somebody that's going to sit on it unless I have a chance at it, okay? So, I will get it if you're not going to get it, is what I'm saying. I do like it enough that it's kind of like, okay. Oh, I see what you were talking about with the blood sugar. That's just weird. Okay. Moving on. Final minutes. Let's find some good Daddy's Boy. That's a brand for you. Waits for sale. That I like that domain name actually a little bit. The only thing about it is it's 3 words, and that's kind of an example of what happens as you add words. Is it sounds good. It's just a matter of it's 3 words. It's very specific. You can take any of these like psychics or find psychics. FindPsychicsNearMe.com, FindPsychicsInMyArea.com. They will sound good. They say exactly what to expect on them, but the more words you add, the less impact your domain name has. So kind of an important thing to keep in mind. Waits for sale is it's weights. It's a weight market. There's probably other domain names that are better for that, but certainly something you can look at. In fact, I don't like to go with just my judgment. I think it's, I've been proven wrong way too many times here. And I've thought that something wouldn't really have much. Oh my God. Okay, see, this is why I typed this stuff in. Okay, did not expect the numbers to be this high. Okay, so here you go, peeps. Here's a good domain name. This is why I type it in. This is why I don't trust my judgment. And also, let that be an example. Don't trust your judgment either. We are not very good. We think we're really good at kind of knowing what's going to work out. Okay, here you go. 6,100 searches for waits for sale. And that makes sense if you actually think about it. Man, this is a really good domain name. So if you think about it, the weights are heavy, right? Shipping them is just not a thing. So once weights are in a certain area, they probably don't really go very far. So weights for sale would be where you could go. Let's go over to SpyFu. 6,100 searches, that's major. Weights for sale near me, 7,100 searches. So you're talking, 10,000 plus. There's some big numbers with this. These over here, I'm not seeing. This is a little. The keywords over here, I'm not seeing good questions. Let's go see this down here. Okay. Unfortunately, we're seeing only 10 advertisers, which double digits. It's like a C plus or a B minus. This cost per click, though, nobody's doing this. Because why? I would say this. People selling weights for sale, they're people like me or just your neighbor that has weights. They've been sitting there forever and they want to sell them. So this would be an opportunity for them to sell them on a website. They're not going out there and paying for this. I don't know. Maybe if they had an opportunity to list weights for sale, you wouldn't charge monthly fees probably. You would probably charge a listing fee of like $5 until they're sold type of thing, or $10 till they're sold. And then you can expand out into reselling other gym equipment. Boom, right there. Other keywords. Okay. That is weightsforsale.com. I actually like that one. It ended up being a pretty good find, and I was going to pass up on it. Again, it's currently at like the minimum bid, 5 days left. So put that on your radar for way later. If you don't bid, I'm going to bid. So you may want to reach out to me. I like any domain name that works into being a little bit of a local service. So let's give it 2 more page downs. Let's see if we find anything more. And Lake Tahoe strippers. Actually, okay, I was going to make more jokes on like maybe that's people that take the paint off of barns and buildings, but okay. But authorized partners. That's an interesting one. I like that phrase. Authorized partners. Nobody's bidding on it yet, which is good. I just want to check it out here. How many times have you seen authorized partner or authorized partners on labels or on ads? I like phrases that you see a lot, for authorized partners. Nothing really happening though. No advertisers, no nothing. Okay, so that's just something that Drew likes. That's why we type it in. Well, there we go. There we go. Okay, let me see what all this nonsense is. Okay, on the bottom of SpyFu, it said monthly cost. Oh, okay. I believe what that is referring to is... Yeah, let me pull that back up. Okay, so it looks like everybody's referring to this here, monthly cost. I don't know. I have no idea what that means. I'm gonna have to Google that and get back to you on that. What does... Yeah, I'm not sure what the heck that even is standing for. I've never really paid attention to it. I don't think it's. I have no idea. Good question. Good catch. Whoever that was. Is that you, Chaz? Chaz, did you pop that off and grab that? I've always just kind of ignored it. I don't know what the heck it means. I don't have a... So anybody in the chat happen to know what the heck monthly cost is? I'm looking. So we got Michael mentioned it's the monthly cost on bottom of SpyFu, and El Couch. There's a monthly cost under the cost. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. Okay. Yeah, well, I appreciate you bringing that up. I have no idea, and realistically, there's probably all kinds of data on this page here that is not. I don't really know. Like some of it's important, some of it's not. I don't. Monthly cost, I'm not too worried about it. I have no idea what they're referring to with that. The main things are cost per click and the advertisers. So that's what I look down there for. monthly cost. I'll have to look into what the heck that is. You know what it could be is Google has programs that allow you to target keywords on. They essentially compete with domain owners. Okay, it's one of the reasons I freaking kind of hate Google anymore. But essentially, they have pages that it's one ad. So if you do a search for like moving companies, for example, in fact, let's go check it out. Maybe this would be what the answer is. Hopefully, it's not too long of a tangent. Moving companies. When you do a search on Google for like moving companies, these up here, see this 40 movers nearby? That is referring to, this is all one big ad. That's what this is. Like, this is all one giant ad by Google. And I imagine maybe it could be the monthly cost you would pay to participate in whatever this program is, or something along those lines. Although that would require localization. I'll look into it. Or maybe if somebody could look into it and get back to us, I'd love to know. But to be quite honest, I'm not too worried about it. It's more of a, yeah. Is it okay to say I don't know? I just don't know. So there we go. Oh, wait. Thank you, Matt. Let's see. Matt is sharing the explanation from SpyFu. First, we list the estimated number of clicks the domain is expected to get when it ranks in the top position. Then we multiply that times the value of each click. I don't think that's not the monthly one. That would be referring to the value. So somewhere they do a value. It might not be part of the free one, but SpyFu does assign a value to a certain keyword. And when they do that, that's essentially what they're doing, is taking the average cost per click and putting it by it. Or maybe that's what they're referring to. Okay, well, that was fun. Yes, I love not knowing. If I felt like it mattered to how I valued a domain name, I would be diving into figuring that answer out. I have a feeling it just doesn't matter that much to me. I want to know how many advertisers. I want to see it double digits. I want to see the cost per click as high as possible. That monthly cost piece just doesn't matter too much. Okay, let me see. That gives you a sense of how we are. Yes, that's essentially what we're doing when we are looking at the cost per click and the keyword data. So when we are on SpyFu and we see that there's 10,000 people searching for this keyword and the cost per click is $2, essentially what it's saying is that's like $20,000 worth of visibility if you were to be number one on this domain name and so on and so forth. It gives a value associated to that domain name. So that's why we use that in deciding whether a domain name is valuable or not. In fact, I'm sure that places like Godaddy and so on look at those numbers, and that's part of how they try to assign a value for a domain name. Ultimately, though, it's not a big deal. Or we don't want to use it for valuation. We want to use it to help us understand that industry. That's what we're after. We're after understanding the industry, understanding the domain and the value. The only thing is, I just want to warn you against any one piece of data. One piece of data or two pieces of data does not give you a value. That's why those valuations, if it was as easy to know how good a domain name is just by multiplying those things together, we'd all be doing it. It would be cake. The fact is, it is not that easy to come up with a domain name. There's numerous domain names out there. In fact, I talk about videosoftware.com. Go type video software into SpyFu. You'll see good cost per click, good advertisers, and good keyword density. And I will tell you that domain name has been a disaster for me. Paid like $20,000 for it. And I think I've said on numerous occasions right here, if you want to buy videosoftware.com for $20,000, I will sell it to you at the price I paid for it, because even though SpyFu and domain appraisal tools say it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's not. It's not. And that's what they're doing, is taking those numbers, multiplying them together. So it's a quick way to waste money. I can tell you that because I've wasted the money. Okay, I've spent the money. Now, is it worth $20K? Yeah, probably. Is it worth 200,000 like all the appraisal tools say? No. Okay, let me see here. I'm reading these comments that are coming in. It looks like we're all kind of trying to figure out and clap back. I don't know if I've seen your name across. Nice to have you here. Maybe the average monthly budget per advertiser who pays for clicks in a particular keyword. I mean, something like that. That's the thing, is it's something like that. It's decoding something that is probably made for people that do cost per click advertising versus us as domain developers, investors. So, alrighty. With that note, thank you, Clapback, for kind of grabbing that and asking that question, because I think that's probably what it is. It's something kind of just to help you gauge if you do a lot of cost per click stuff. That's what that's for. I'm rather confident in it, but at the same time, I don't 100% know. I'm not a cost per click guy. I don't pay for traffic. I just buy really expensive domain names and develop them and share them with people. So the same things that allow me to be really good at domains also keep me from knowing anything about pay-per-click. Okay. Well, I'm Drew Wash's Domain to Profit. I do appreciate you all joining me, wherever it is that you are. Well, I'm here in Vegas. I hope that you found some great domain names, learned a little bit about expiring domain names and which ones you're looking for. I hope that you'll join me back here each week, Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we typically try to keep it at 1 hour to look to these domain names, find great opportunities that you could turn into businesses to change your life, add revenue to allow you to do the things that you want to be able to do in life, whatever those may be, whether it's building a pool house or whatever not. Yeah. It just occurred to me I need to do a summary of these domains real quick. So even though I'm wrapping up, authorized partners, I skipped that one. Waitsforsale.com. I love that one. It ended up being a big domain name, $12 into 5 days. Findpsychics.com. I kind of ended up liking a little bit. That one ends in 5 days as well. Currently $12. And small business opportunities, small business opportunity, not a big fan of it, but it does show up pretty well in SpyFu. That one ends in 4 days. Commercialdrivers.com, great if you want to list up commercial driver schools and things like that for getting truckers signed up. That one ends in 6 days. And Tactical Flashlight, a product domain name, as you can see, ends in 4 days, already $135. That one is available as well. So again, thank you for joining me. I'm Drew Wash. If you haven't already, make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe. And if you know anybody out there that's looking to get into this whole domain name thing, make sure you send them to domaintoprofit.com so they can join us and get in this awesome community that we have together. There we go. Have a great week. See you next week, 3 p.m. Drew Wash, Domain to Profit. Take care.